Kim Nam Pao.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Let's get after it. Another week. The dog days of summer. We're still here. King's Court, Ryno with you. Hope you had a really good weekend. It was hot. Spent some time in the sun. Hopefully you hydrated as well. I'm not talking about the Bush lattes. I'm talking about the H2O, the sparkling water, the Gatorade, whatever it might be. Hope it was well. Yeah, baseball trade deadline. We're going to have some baseball talk today, believe it or not, because the question that I would like to answer is, are we looking at the Dodgers in the wrong light? Like, is all the spotlight on them because they're actually trying? Or should we be redirecting that spotlight to the rest of MLB, who outside of a few teams here and there are just dishing players, getting off salary, basically quitting? How cheap can we go for the rest of the season? And this is why this is the whole thing about this lockout that could be pending after this season. So I want to get into that a little bit. Also, one of the guys I really, really like, have not had the opportunity to meet him yet, but Bobby Marks. Really enjoy his work. He is all over it when it comes to the NBA, especially from a front office perspective. He put out an article about 10 things about free agency, and there's some stuff in the CBA about it that I think is really useful. So, yeah, there's SummerSlam also there. I'm not saying I'm going to hit you with wrestling, but there could be a few thoughts here or there. I thought it was a really good overall SummerSlam. I think it exceeded my expectations. However, some of the big matches that we were really talking about kind of underperformed. And you got some big returns, some of which we predicted on Friday. So if you want to talk about SummerSlam, we can get into that as well. What's going on at injury camp in Santa Clara with the 49ers? Holy bleep. Can't believe it. We talked about Ricky Pearsall last week a lot. We talked about Kyle Shanahan. Pearsall, season-ending surgery. And that wide receiver room, decimated right now. We'll get to it in a few minutes. Also, it's a motivational Monday. By the way, Grant and I were back tonight, 7 o'clock, plenty to still talk about here in the world of sports, and even just whatever. If there's something you want to talk about that's a little bit off the chart, if there's something not related to sports you want to get into, I'm all for it. Like, I somehow stumbled on a Arnold Schwarzenegger story this weekend, and I think it was a YouTube short, because I have Instagram, but I don't have what is it? You have to have a separate app for Reels or whatever it is. But anyways, the short was Arnold telling a story about when he was filming Twins with Danny DeVito. And Arnold used to have this, I guess, and I didn't hear about it when I worked at the state capitol, but we could see into the governor's courtyard from our office, and he would commonly have people down for cigars, whatever, and they finally put a tent up so you couldn't see who he was meeting with. But anyways, I get back to the point because it involves cigars. He was notorious for this prank where he would lace a cigar. He'd throw some Mary Jane in there. He'd throw some Cron into that cigar to a person that would not be suspecting it. Well, anyways, on the set of Twins, Danny DeVito had him over to his trailer for lunch. And you would think Arnold would be like onto that, but Danny DeVito set it up so perfectly. He's like, hey, man, made a really good lunch, made some pasta, made a homemade cheesecake at my trailer. Why don't you come by? And so he goes by for lunch. And like I said, great main, great dessert, espressos flowing. And all of a sudden, Danny DeVito pops out one of the cigars that is like one of Arnold's favorites. Apparently, it's like a legendary cigar. Don't remember the name of it. But anyways, Danny had laced it and it got by Arnold. Like he thought, oh, it's a great cigar. Enjoyed the cigar. They get back onto set and he's supposed to be shooting his close-ups and he can't remember his lines. And he's like telling the people, like, get the director. Like, I don't feel right. And so after about an hour and Danny ending up doing his close-ups, Arnold was back to normal. And Danny walked up to him and he's like, how about that cigar, buddy? So he got over on Arnold, which made me think, like, I don't know about you, but I have been a part of some pretty classic prank wars and pretty in-depth prank wars as well. So if you've been a part of any of those, you got a good prank that's happened to you or you have done to somebody, keep it clean, y'all. This is a family show. We have Tedora checking in from Serbia all the time. So if you had a good prank, holler at me. I wouldn't mind hearing that. It's funny with prank wars. They're funny, but then like that line is just right there. And trust me, I know that line all too well. So let's check in with all of you and then we will get cracking here on Monday. Again, we're going to talk a little bit, believe it or not, about MLB and the trade deadline. The Dodgers get richer. However, they did it in a different way, man. The Dodgers are not afraid to give up their prospects. Everybody else is. You know why? Because the prospects are not being paid as much. And what's the use of holding on to a prospect if many of these teams are going to turn them in or they're going to become really good players, borderline stars, maybe all-stars, but you're never going to re-sign them. What's the point? Anyways, we'll get into it in a second. Adam's already in. I figured he would be in. There were some really good things coming out of SummerSlam. Also some bad too. So we'll get to it in a little bit. Red California has been in first as of late, says yo. Guess you didn't see my comment. I said I was joking that Grant. I did not. Good job by you, Red California. You got over on Ryno. That a boy. Give yourself a do. Let's see. Dodgers are the only team that wants to win. No one else. They got Scooble for nothing. Dude, tell me about it. Milwaukee couldn't have made that run. Boston's trying. Look at how Boston started out the season. Like awful. And now they're on a run. They go out. They get a really good catcher, an all-star catcher here at the deadline. Baseball is just one of those really funny animals. The Dodgers went to 7 games last season in the World Series against the Blue Jays. In fact, that series was there for the Blue Jays to win. And because of short series in the playoffs, like the wild cards where you do a 3-game series, if you have 2 starting pitchers that can go back to back, I guess baseball is just such a long season. Anything can happen. Let's put it that way. I don't think the best team always wins in baseball. I think the hottest team come that time of year, come October, September, the hottest team ends up winning in baseball. All right. Red California, 3 in a row. We hit that already. Good job. What's up, BJ? Hello to the Sucktown Fanatics and Discontent Disorders. Okay, I see you trying to play on Discord. Super excited. Worked on that over the weekend as well. So ready, getting ready to launch that for the upcoming season. Thank you to everybody that's already signed up. Tristan in the house. What's up, T? It's a great day to be alive on a Monday. Is it a great day to be alive? Yeah, if you're CM Punk, sure. Dude, There were a couple of moments from SummerSlam that will be considered all-time moments. I think KO's return, all-time. Not a lot of people, me, not expecting it. Wasn't sure if he was going to return. People in the stands crying. And those are like the hardcores of the hardcores. They're sitting on the floor. They're at both nights. They've got their on location lanyards that they overpaid for. Dude, and how about Smiley? If any of you, sorry, I'm getting on a tangent now. This Smiley dude that always, if it's a significant event, is sitting smack dead center, first row, every show. If you don't know who I'm talking about, he's the dude that wears a neon green shirt that has a smiley face on it. Hence, Smiley. But he's paid for the experiences, like literally walking to the ring at WrestleMania with Wade Barrett and Michael Cole with the entire crowd in the building. He's paid for every experience. I didn't know you could buy an experience where you are actually part of the match. He was part of the women's title match in a very small way. And I'm thinking, like, what? How? I already locked myself out of baseball. Okay, fair enough. Haven't watched a game in about 9 years. Haven't been to a game in a few years. I have not watched a full game this season. I have watched probably about 6 or 7 innings, 4 or 5 of which I was there at the game. So yeah, let's do it. Peter's on it. It is a motivational Monday. Unfortunately, we can't play the Rudy song, but we got you. That means Scott Perry sending us some vibes, letting us know what's up, getting our pump if you're working out just a little bit harder. Scott Perry, it's important to get comfortable when feeling uncomfortable. Run to difficult situations instead of running away from them. Our mental approach to adversity is everything. This is where you grow and reach your full potential as a person. You know, not a long one, but a very potent one. He ain't wrong. Scott, I've told you in person, we are not trolling you. We like these. That's why it's start every Monday with these. Motivational Monday, baby. For the Motivational Mondays, we are volunteers. We are not hostages around here on the King's Court. So there you go. Good enough for you, Peter? Peter probably read it, vetted it, got through it. Is it another bullet wound? What the hell are you talking about, Adam? Adam, after your performance on Friday, you should be serving some type of suspension, my man. Like, you were all over the map. Like, I need to take you back to... Oh, and this guy shows up like we're going to do a wrestling segment. He literally just called. Why would I put you on hold right now, Adam? Just tell me why. You stepped all over me. You're all over the place. Last Friday, should we go to Adam? We might go to Adam. I don't want to lose the audience going to Adam because the audience isn't here for a full dose of wrestling. So, Adam, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a couple of thoughts off my chest, and then I will come to you. Give me your best 5-minute hit of SummerSlam. You got 5 minutes. Start mapping it out. You have a 5-minute segment that you will get in the next 10 minutes. Okay? I'm coming to you within 10. Get your act together. Red Callie's always watching Grant too. So 7 o'clock tonight, we're back, Grant and Ryno. Yes, I know what a blunt is, Adam. Familiar, my friend. Haven't smoked a cabbie? Is that what it's called? A cabbie. Interesting. And good point, BJ. That isn't a blunt. If it okay, you know what? I shouldn't even be saying that word right now. What are we doing? We used to send miracle holy water. What? Then my friend sent Mormon missionaries to my house to smoke. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So how does he do that? Okay. How does this work? The missionaries run into you or your friend, I should say, and he is just playing the game with them. He's buttering them up, and then he's like, "Hey, missionaries, I'm with what you're doing. When can I come meet you at church? But before I'm willing to come, I've got this friend that's in need of a lot of help, like a lot of help. He's been searching for the bigger picture in life. Like, here's his address. Go get him. Bring him to church. Is that how it works? Did a prank at Sac City, but got kicked out for a semester. Okay, we're talking about like senior pranks, high school pranks. What up, Flores? Stay the bleep away from Levine. Kings keeping him. Kings didn't really have a choice. You know, uh, it's okay. Here's my take, and we talked about it last week. To me, buying Zach Levine out right now would be the wrong move. Here's why it's the wrong move. You have no benefit other than an open roster spot to buying him out today. You don't get a little bit of cap relief if you do it earlier. No. You buy him out at the number. So if he can give you something in whatever role Scott Perry and the Kings and Doug Christie want to play him in, and very clearly Zach Levine is being expected to come in and fit in. This is not about Zach Levine this season. It's about the young guys. He's expected to play the role that Doug is going to hand down to him. And if he plays the role well, then great. That's awesome. Now, I don't think the role is 40 plus minutes a night, but there's no risk, I should say. There's no risk to bringing him in to see if he can turn himself maybe into an asset that another team would want to take at the deadline. Now, if Zach's playing terrible and he's causing a problem behind the scenes, and he's being unprofessional and it's just a big issue, then maybe you buy him out. I get it. Then you buy him out, then you take the hit. But bring him into camp. That's what I would do. I mean, Scott Perry I said this after the press conference before they left for Vegas. To me, reading between the lines, there is a very clear line between the players that are part of the future in Scott Perry's plan and the players that are not. And then there's a couple players that are kind of in the gray area, that are in the middle. The marching orders to Domas and Zach seem to be, you're not part of what we see in the future. And by the way, that could change. I don't think Zach could change, but Domas could definitely change. Yeah, okay. Nah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Missions, man. Go to a city that you're not familiar with. All right, Adam. Literally, your best five. You have 5 minutes to talk SummerSlam, and it's prime real estate because we are only 21 minutes into the show. So, Adam, be responsible. I need the A version of you right now. Here you go. Joining. How pumped are you, bro?
It was the best day of my life. Can you hear me? Hello?
I got you.
Okay.
I
can't hear myself, which I can.
Yeah, I can hear my. By the way. Yeah, Chelsea, that moment was freaking incredible. I love it.
Such a great moment. For me, it's like I took a gap in watching wrestling, right? And
By
so
the
when I
way, Adam's. I'm going to go full screen to show that you're wearing a Chelsea green hat.
yeah, let me get the lettuce out of the way too. But for coming back as a WWE fan, and you kind of like attach yourself to certain wrestlers, like I'm gonna follow this person, so on and so forth. For me, it was always Drew McIntyre, Gunther, and then Chelsea Green. I thought there was a snowball's chance in hell that Chelsea would ever become champion. But here we are today, and you kind of called it on Friday. I'll give it to you. I am always hopefully optimistic for her, but as soon as she had that first ascent up the ladder and then got knocked down, I was like, there it is. Like she's not getting it. But then when they, had all four up there and then they clear out, uh, it was incredible. Yes, it is a nice Curse Sky hat. There's a new one that just became available this weekend. It is already on the way. So I will have a new Chelsea green hat for you guys to all admire here in the future. And a new shirt.
Yeah, I know. We're only doing 5 solid minutes because of everything that happened this weekend. We're doing 5 minutes of wrestling. Okay, let's do this since we're gonna do 5 minutes. Let's do our top 3 moments and our bottom 3 moments from SummerSlam.
Top 3 moment. Chelsea, KO returning, and uh, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna say for me, top moment was KO returning. That was emotional because there's times where real life bleeds in to wrestling, and real life bled in here. His surgery was so freaking serious that it was more likely than not that he would never wrestle again. And for him to show up the way he did, the reaction that he got, the shape that he was in, and now clearly be in plans, at least for the near future. Number one, hands down. Number two, Chelsea winning the title for sure. And number three, Nick Aldis, man. I freaking loved Nick Aldis and what he did, the story behind it. Let that guy still wrestle. And I think they're starting to lay that groundwork with Sami Zayn for him to wrestle again.
Sami Zayn?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Because it was supposed to be only him versus Finn for
Right.
the number one contender, and Nick Aldis added 2 participants.
Oh, sure. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Yes, it was a fun match. Like my only gripe, really, with all of SummerSlam is maybe the matches could have been longer. I mean, there was like night one, it was like 85 minutes of wrestling, and then there was 103 minutes of like transition video packages and ads. Top number one bad moment was the mug root beer dog coming out and ruining Chad Gable's moment. That stunk. Um, I don't know. Baron Corbin, Trick Williams, it was just meh, whatever. And you hit it on the head. Like the KO spot, I cannot, as a lifelong Chelsea, put that moment ahead of Chelsea winning. But dude, watch the emotion in Kevin Owens. Like, and what was so cool about that spot is they did it right out the gate, like the start of the show, and everyone just got amped for the rest of the show. Get you so amped that you can sit through Baron Corbin and Trick Willie. Not that it was a bad match, but that was the lull of the night. And you see Kevin Owens come out, and you can see emotion in his face, but then he turns back around and goes back towards the stage. And that was where he was just like, "Oh my god, like, I'm gonna cry.
Mhm.
Get it together, dude." And you see him turn around and he was like, "Let's fuck sorry, let's go." Sorry, Fedora.
Okay. So, and I agree with you with all those. All right. Bottom three moments of the weekend. You want me to go first, or do you want to
Yeah,
go?
no, because we probably agree with each other.
Okay. Number one, Hell in a Cell. I just thought there was no point of even doing. I'm gonna mute you while I talk because something's up with your mic, and
Yeah,
I don't
something is
know what it is. So, or actually, can you mute yourself while I talk? There we go. Perfect. So I did not like that they did not use the cell. Way too short. Just not. I loved what Brock did in the end, putting him over. He's the new guy. Get it. He's the future. But that was super disappointing. Chad Gable's match, man, that was super disappointing too. It was nothing like I thought it would be. It was very far from a match of the night, steal the show kind of thing. And then number three, most disappointing. I've got to think about number three, so I'll go back to you. Go ahead.
Nikki Bella broke her shoulder. I'm sorry, Brie Bella. So we'll get
Your mic's gone.
it's completely gone.
It's super low. Yeah. Go ahead. His mic is jacked. Yes.
What the hell is going on? Okay. Is that better? There we go, baby. Now I'm back.
Now you're here. Thank you. You just made it. All right. Anyway,
I'm
so
telling you, man, I think something's going on. Brie Bella's shoulder blade is broken, so we don't have to hear Brie mode or see her for the next 3 to 6 months. The downside of that is that we will have to see her in the future, and they can't just go away. The Bella twins have overstayed their welcome. We are okay with you being here for a match or two, but not a 2-year run. We are not interested in that.
I'm with you, AMG. I'm with you, my man. They didn't even use the cell. It was short. It was just big
Yeah.
spots.
Well, we know why they did that. Just to say that Obafemi is the only person who beat Brock Lesnar in a steel cage, right?
To have no blood,
It's
to have no blood, to have no involvement of the cage, the pulling the ring back, like okay, pulling the ring back is freaking tired. Like it's just tired now. So
Is it? I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen it in a long time. I kind of
yeah,
appreciated it, but I'm with you. They could have used the actual cell more. It didn't feel like anyone needed to get out of the cell, or you know.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't. At the end of it all, I was entertained. I had fun. It was exciting for the most part, to me. And so I don't know. I took this as like I think they had a really good SummerSlam.
No, I think the high moments were as good as they get, and I think the in between was the in between, and I think some of the bigger moments that we expected did not pay off. I think here's the way to put it: all of the things that you wanted, like you're depending on who you're a fan of, but like at least if you listen to this show, the big things that would have popped us happened. And so you're really happy with that stuff. And it was in smaller, unexpected matches, but the big matches to me did not pop. I mean,
Yeah.
Seth and Roman was interesting. It felt like it was, and this was clearly the story they were trying to get across, that this was them putting to bed the Shield. This was all right. After this, we're not doing this version of this storyline anymore. If we ever meet again, it's because we're the two best in the business. And there's a lot of tributes paid to Dean Ambrose there.
Yeah, especially Michael Cole talking trash about him in the commentary.
What's he gonna do, man? He's not part of the company anymore.
I know.
So, anyway,
but it was a good show. I was entertained. It's the best PLA they've put on in I don't know how long, in my opinion. I love the spots. To your point, the main event matches weren't anything over the top, but I do really appreciate the Cody Punk match. I know there's some controversy around CM Punk and how that match went for him in his pants.
His pants?
There's pictures out there that maybe he soiled himself during the match.
Stop.
Look it up.
Okay.
But overall, like even Punk doing that moonsault, like it's so garbage, but that's the point. Like he's old. He's 48. Anybody here watching this show, can you do a backflip? Probably not. Or are willing to do one on top of another human being. You know, so I appreciate I'm not a CM Punk fan by any means, but I do love this version of Punk. He is really good right now. I can't wait for KO Punk on the mic. When do we make that happen? Does it happen in Money in the Bank or whatever they detoured Money in the Bank for in September? WrestlePalooza? What is it?
It's a good question. I mean, it could be a big Raw match. You don't know. We're going to be coming up on season premieres for the network, so that might be the big show or the big match for that. But yeah. So get through a couple of the questions. It's a new and gentler WWE. I don't disagree with you. Okay. I don't. But when you do that match, you have to do that match right. You can't make that match gentler. And they haven't done that with other versions of this match, even during this era.
Punk and Drew?
Exactly.
That might be one of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever. It was an incredible match.
Spot on. Spot on. EMG, do not encourage Adam, please. I'm trying to keep this on track. It takes the littlest thing to make this guy get off track and just go rogue.
Me?
Yes, you.
What's he talking about?
The quality of the matches don't seem that good, even comparing the few last years. You know, I thought Liv and Io was great. I thought the commentary team blew the finish because Io, you know, basically kipping up from the what's Liv's finishing move? Bolivian, yeah. Anyways, yeah, you're right, Peter. We got to wrap it up. All right, it's enough wrestling. We've got our dose of SummerSlam in. Anything else that you would like to say, my friends?
Thank you, Patriots.
Dude, I popped huge for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I cried. Sorry.
I didn't cry, but like again, this is where real life meets wrestling. Like she was never somebody that was supposed to hold that title, be an interim champion, and she's worked her tail off.
Okay, so one last thing before I part. I posted before the match that, you know, whatever on my Instagram. You can check it out. It's Wrestling Reimagined. Wrestling.reimagined on Instagram, X, eBay, all that stuff. Come buy your wrestling cards from me, negotiate, make me an offer. But I posted on my Instagram account prior to the match. Let's go. This is your night, Chelsea. And post-match, she viewed it. I've got the receipts. All right. She viewed it post-match and then cut the promo on Hayes on the post-show. So I'm not saying I directly influenced Chelsea Green's post-match beef with Michael Hayes, but you can't say I didn't.
I didn't know that there was a beef with Michael Hayes.
Oh, because it's unreal. And he said Chelsea's a setup girl. She's not the main character. All this kind of stuff. And now here we are.
Right.
So go follow me on Instagram if you're interested in wrestling reimagined.
Go check him out. All right. We get back on track. Thanks for joining, dude. Appreciate you.
You
Good stuff from Adam. We keep the calls going. Yeah, look at you guys. F-bomb, nice. It's like, what can you get away with? Can he sing YMCA? I'm sure he would, had I saw that horse who's trying to bring my show off the rails at the moment. Going back to the phones, like the phone calls. If you want to get up in here, take the show any way that you would like to go. Let's go to BJ. Beach?
Yo, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
So that last chick you had on, man, she had some big hands, but you know, there's something for everybody.
Good job by you, man. Really good job by you.
While I'm on here, hey, Haunted, if you only have 2 people in your chat, can't you at least say hello twice? How hard is it to acknowledge people in your chat if they check into your crazy show? So, boom. Okay, it's Monday. It's my Saturday. I don't have to be back to work till Thursday or Friday. So I have a lot of making up to do. I know it's the Scott Perry, what do you call it again, Ryno?
Motivational Mondays, baby.
Motivational Mondays, baby. I love it. So my motivational little garb is something that I kind of wake up with, and it's prioritization has nothing to do with time. And another one I kind of like to live by is that you stay positive. If you're positive, you got resilience with some grit, you're definitely going to be grateful and have some gratitude. And I like to end it with not the call, but the motivation part, and then I can just get to my Stucktown take.
Yeah.
That we're all born looking like our parents, but you're going to die looking like your decisions. So take that for what it's worth. I don't charge very much per hour, but if anybody wants to hire me, I could certainly either make you more sad, pissed off. You may even laugh a little bit. Just joking.
I like that. I like that, dude. Good job.
I think I'm going to start doing this card thing where instead of showing my face, I'm going to show different cards and different topics. I pulled this Levine. He's just been kind of sitting here because I was thinking, the candle guy. That was a great idea. I'm stealing his idea. I'm going with cards. So, I got to find some of my vintage ones, pull out some of my Hank Aaron's, my Roberto Clementes, and kind of do that. I'm a little bit curious to see how Scott Perry is going to play his hand. When I sat, I was lucky enough to get there early enough, and I got to the floor to watch that first game here in Sacramento. I forgot who they were playing. I think it was Milwaukee, maybe. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I got to the floor, and I just so happened to sit behind. I like to sit in the end zone so I could see everything. And what I really noticed, besides our second pick, who I thought has got a great attitude, great work ethic, and I love the way he communicates with his team, with the team on the bench. It's just, I think he's ready to rock and roll. It's going to take some time, of course.
Manuel Sharp.
Yes, yeah, I was really, really excited to see him. I think he's going to contribute off the bench, and he should get at least 12, 15 minutes. I mean, or even more. I mean, he should get some time. He's ready to go, I think. Um, what I found more interesting besides Sharp was when the game was about to start, Keegan came out and he sat there, and Doug Christie came out. They acknowledged each other. Perry came out with Christie, so did BJ Armstrong, and so did Jock Sniffer. Now, the Jock Sniffer was hanging out more with what's the gentleman from Detroit? Oh, he was a coach, old man. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but he's a
Alvin
good.
Gentry.
Yes, thank you. Alvin Gentry, he was close, like at his hip. What I found really, really interesting is that there's like two groups, and Perry is playing it very well. He was entertaining the Jock Sniffer group because, well, he's closer business wise with those guys, but he was very, very aware to sit with Christie and to you could see that their relationship and their closeness has become one of a symbiotic relationship. You can see that Christie needs Perry. You can see it in his eyes. You can see the way that he stands and the way that he had even put his hand on his shoulder. It's like they're close enough to where they have had some you could tell they've had some moments between each other. I thought Perry handled stuff very well, and I'm starting to be trusting of Perry because of these interactions. I'm starting to understand that Perry is probably the perfect person at this point for this job, and Doug Christie for sure is the perfect coach at this juncture of the Kings. Now it is a big if we stick to the game plan and go with the young kids, working the some of these veteran guys in, of course, and somehow get Sabonis up and running and kind of use him. I think it's going to be a touch and go up until the All-Star break. I like Doug Christie. Doug Christie is one of my favorite Kings players. As far as coaching, it's going to be a little difficult because at some point you're going to need an NBA coach. And it's no disrespect to Mr. Christie and the organization. All my disrespect is to the Jock Sniffer. At some point, you're going to need somebody to go the next step. So, with that being said, I want to thank you, Ryno, again. And I always thank Nate, so I love you guys. You know, without you guys, when I'm at work, I got you playing. A lot of people listen in the emergency room where I work, and
Thanks, brother.
it's really fun to hear. It just kind of keeps life fun, and you know, it's just not all serious and death and dying at the hospital. I got you guys, and so I appreciate the chat a lot. I really do. Have formed some relationships via chat, and I'm looking forward to the Discord and looking forward to the meetups. And Mr. Reynolds, he brings so much. I love that man. He's a living legend. So cool. Yep. So, anyways, that's my motivation for today. I think the Kings, I'm calling it right now. I think the Kings will get 23 wins. So if anybody wants to bet, I would certainly take the over, but it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. So, yeah, that's it. Love you guys. You'll see me popping in and out, and let's be positive. Go Kings. And I love the Sucktown Fanatics. Love them so much.
Yes, sir. BJ, appreciate you, dude. Thanks, brother. Love you too. Good call from BJ. Very interesting call from BJ, because something I've said about the Kings, and I'm not gonna go as far as BJ did, and say that, Doug's perfect for this job. Like he is the mold of what you would want right now. BJ getting some love. No, Tristan, it was not Doug Collins. I'm not going to go that far, but I've talked about so much because of the owner that you have here in Sacktown. There's only a few routes that this works with this owner. Somehow you hit the jackpot on a player in the draft. They become one of those guys that the Kings have never had. And because of that, it's so good that you can't screw it up. That's one way that you could go. The other way that you can go is hire somebody that doesn't give a bleep. Let me repeat that. That does not give a bleep. And what I mean by that is somebody that is getting their one and only shot in this league as a general manager, as a coach, and they are not going to let anything derail them from success. And they're going to shut the noise out, and they're going to put results in front of the owner. And again, you're going to have to say, if you're the owner, hopefully, well, yeah, you're an ass. You don't listen to me, but the stands are filled. The team's back in the playoffs. Like, you've kind of tied my hands. So it's kind of like option number one. And then there's option number three, where you have to have somebody that can play the game better than the owner. Like, you have to be able to. I'm not a huge fan of this word, but you have to be able to gaslight the owner, kind of like he gaslights this fan base. You've got to play the owner against himself. Put the basketball operations in a place where the owner doesn't have a third option. There's only two options that both are right options, etc. And I'm not going to say that's where Scott Perry's at, but to BJ's call and his take, I've said this for a minute. I really feel what you're hearing from Scott Perry, what you're hearing from Doug Christie, I really feel, and BJ Armstrong, that these three are a little bit tighter than we all want to believe, mostly because of Doug's ties to Vivek and how he got the job. Here's what I asked Doug after the season. Check out his answer.
Hey, Coach. Just like the rookies got an extended opportunity this season, it feels like you faced much more than a coach usually does in their first year in that seat. I'm wondering if any confidence you take, or what do you take from that and apply to the next season?
Good question. As an athlete, you grow up and to like on the outside looking in, this is like, whoa. And this is a lot, but you kind of made for it or you're not. You keep fighting, you come with the right mentality, or that starts to break down and you see that. Me in this position, I try to come with the right disposition, the right mindset, clean it, rinse it, let's go again. The learning inside of that is probably the biggest gift, and that's sit back and look. And luckily, I have two incredible mentors and leaders that help me because they see the game differently in Scott and BJ than a lot of people. So it's easy for me to lean on them. Sometimes they probably be like, damn, man, but I lean on them because I know that when you talk about knowledge and battles and fighting and where they come from, like that for me is an invaluable piece of growth that I just dive into. So you know, this job is one of the biggest hurdles that I've ever faced, but I truly enjoy it, and I think I must enjoy pain a little bit because it's a lot of fun, man. I really have a fun doing my job, and I know that what's on the other side of what we experienced is the gratification in going through what we go through. Yeah.
So here's where I take that. I do again think there is some legitimacy to what's going on right now. Now, what's going on right now is not championship basketball. What's going on right now is not playoff basketball. You are at the lower level, close to the basement of a rebuild. You are 1 year away from financial flexibility that you have not had for really since Zach LaVine's contract hit the books. So you have that ahead of you. And for the moment, right now, for what Scott Perry is preaching to the fan base about being patient, now we've evaluated. Last year was about evaluation. We've done that. Now it's about developing the youth and continuing to bring in other pieces. Obviously, Darius Acuff Jr., the biggest of which this offseason, but putting the spotlight on them. And having a guy like Doug's shortcomings are not because of a lack of effort. They're not. Dude probably works too hard to a fault. And probably as much as he talks about rinse and repeat, that's what he wants to do. But I think sometimes maybe that doesn't always happen. I guess what I'm saying is for where they're at right now in the style of coach that he is and how young the team is, the young guys respond better to that type of coach. They are. The vets, crapshoot, right? We talked to Jerry last week, and Jerry said it's more common than not for the players not to see eye to eye with the coach. I can tell you for a fact, Domantas Sabonis at times last season did not see eye to eye with Doug Christie. For a fact. And it brings up another question. Keegan Murray, where's he at with all this? You know, if I'm Keegan Murray and he has to keep his body right, try to be available, it's your best skill, being available. But, you know, if I'm Keegan, I could see. I'm not saying that Keegan's jaded, but I could easily see where, you know, like Keegan feels that ticking clock too. And there might be a part of Keegan that feels like he's not gotten a fair shake. As funny as that sounds. So you look at how Doug's going to handle him this season. I think Keegan's got to be a huge part of it, but I think BJ's right. And I lean towards BJ when I say, I think this thing, although the results do not show it, I think it's running fairly healthy. And understand, I'm grading healthy on a curve because of this guy who's not addressed the fan base. In fact, well, okay. Did he address the fan base? No, not directly. His first public appearance for anything related to the Kings, or his first comments related to the Kings publicly, were at Summer League, where he joined the broadcast for 4.5, 5 minutes. Only thing of substance that came from it is, oh, we have the best fans in the world. 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 He's the wild card. And can Scott Perry play the game better than him when it comes to some of, and they're not massive decisions, but some of the bigger decisions this year? In fact, one of the biggest decisions that everybody, and it's super controversial. Trust me, I've dealt with the other side of it many times this past season because there's certain groups of fans that only want to hear what they want to hear. And that's the Westies, the Westbrook fans. They only want to hear what they want to hear. If you look at Scott Perry's decision making last season, just let's break it down like this. Just even if you are a GM without a dysfunctional owner, you needed a point guard. Domas Sabonis screaming it from the rafters for the last couple seasons. You need a point guard. Scott Perry talks to Westbrook, talks to Schroeder, does his due diligence. What do you know? Schroeder gets a 2-year or 3-year, close to $36 million contract, which at the time I'm like, no, that's way too much money. And Schroeder was having a heck of a summer. He was MVP of the EuroLeague tournament, led his team to a championship. But Scott Perry chose Dennis Schroeder. So why, at that time, would the Kings double back and go to Russell Westbrook? With bringing in Schroeder, having a press conference that says, where Scott Perry says, this is the guy that we wanted all summer. He was at the top of our free agent list, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And to make as strong of a financial commitment as you did to him, that's saying that's Scott Perry saying this is my first big decision with this roster. Not many general managers would then turn less than 6 weeks later and sign Russell Westbrook. The only argument, basketball argument, that I can make for signing Russell Westbrook at that point when you had a backload of guards is this. Keegan Murray got hurt. Russ can maybe play a couple different positions. He can guard a couple different positions. That's the only argument that I could make. Scott Perry made his choice between Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook. And I can tell you, things were not always smooth sailing behind the scenes with those two, Westbrook and Schroeder. I'll just leave it at that. But I bring this up because that, to me, I can't document it because Doug Christie thrilled about coaching Russell Westbrook, Scott Perry. So we want Russ would always be welcome here in SAC. We think the world of Russ when they signed him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything off the court, I love. I being around Russ this season, great. Absolutely great, other than the press conference, which I thought I don't have a problem with Russ coming at the press. I have a problem when it's premeditated. If it's spurred in the moment, you get a dumb question. But I thought Russ's attack was premeditated. It lined up with everything that we were hearing about the Kings kind of ramping him down, etc. What I want to basically say is this, to me, was your owner sliding in the back door, panicking, and telling them, we're signing Russell Westbrook. Deal with it. Figure it out. So I lead to a Ry-Doh here because of this offseason. This has been like the biggest debate. Who's going to be the backup point guard? Is there somebody already on the roster that can do it? Scott Perry talks about multiple players being ball handlers, not necessarily point guards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you see all these Westies. Like, seriously, there's the Swifties. I would put the Westies one step below the Swifties. That's just how, like, one-sided they are. You've seen them over social media. If you're scrolling down anything related to the Kings, how is this guy not still unsigned? He averaged 15.9 points a night. He did this. He did that. I don't disagree. But Russell Westbrook came to a situation which ended up being, because of the instability at the ownership position, The only situation. It was a perfect storm between injuries and the instability with this ownership that Russell Westbrook had to have, or I should say, he didn't have to. The entire Kings team had to adjust to Russell Westbrook, whereas he would have had to adjust to 29 other teams in the NBA and understand that he was not coming in to play the role of MVP Russell Westbrook. He was coming in to play a backup point guard role. Now, if you play yourself into the starting position, great. So I don't hold it against Russ for how he played last year, how many shots he took, etc. But I do look at the Kings and I say, that's on you to manage that guy. You know what you're getting when you get that guy. So this is not hate towards Russ. It's he is not the right backup point guard for this basketball team. You saw last season what this season will turn into if Russell Westbrook is re-signed to the Kings. You can't walk that back. And so that's the argument that I have been trying to make. And check it out. Hoops Alert. They talked to a scout. This was via somebody else. Was it Scotto? I forget exactly who it was. But one of the writers talked to a scout on why Russell Westbrook is still unsigned. This is what the scout said. Quote, I wouldn't touch him in a million years. You cannot rely on him in terms of what's going to happen. Yeah, he'll have great games, sure, but he can't shoot. He plays his own way. He's not going to fit into a system. He doesn't really defend. In terms of truly building a winning team, you don't get him on your team. Do you see the difference between last year and this year already? Because I can see it in the rhetoric from Scott Perry. I could hear it when he was asked about Russ coming back. The difference is last year was about evaluation. Maybe the Kings thought, you know what? It's good to have Russ around these young guys. As tired as that argument is, it's good to have him around. Maybe he can bring out the best in some of these young guys and maybe bring out the best in some of our vets. So we can see the best versions of them because we are evaluating talent for what we want going forward. Well, evaluation year is over. 22 wins, done and in the books. This year is now about development. And so everything that Scott Perry and the Kings, the goodwill, the olive tree that they have extended to this fan base, especially when it comes to patience and bringing back Doug Christie, is the youth. That's why Doug came back, because of what he did with the youth for that last portion of the season. Signing Russell Westbrook would be completely counteractive to all of that, and it wouldn't just be cutting down the branch of that olive tree. It would be taking down the whole damn tree and turning it into firewood. This is all that I have been trying to get across. It's so well said by a scout. I wish I could be that concise, but that's exactly it. That's not what this team needs this year. Doesn't mean Russ isn't a great guy with the rooks and the young players. If you want the best of Russell Westbrook from behind the scenes and the IQ at times, which I think at times was very lazy and low, settling for a ton of three-pointers. I believe it was third most attempts in his career, but also could be high when the team needed something, when the team, his first start. Why did he start? Because Dennis Schroeder was not running the offense. Wasn't doing it. He was more of a shooting point guard. So they start Russ. What's Russ have? He has 13 assists within, I think it was less than 2 quarters to start the game. So Russ gets it. But if you want those elements of Russ to be part of this team, it needs to come from Max Ryno. It needs to come from the guys that got the most from Russell Westbrook. And I'm not talking about in the locker room, the rah-rah. I'm talking about actually on the court. When Ryno and Acuff are figuring out their pick and roll game, that's where you hope that Max is going to be able to lend something that worked really good last year from them for both the team and Max and for Westbrook, and pass that along. That's the influence you want. You don't want him back in the building again this year because you can't scale it down. And to be honest, with the volatility of what might be Zach LaVine and how the Kings are going to handle Zach LaVine, I don't think you can double. And Sabonis, you've got that. You can't double that down. You can't have 2, 3, 4 vets that are bent. You just can't do it. So if Westbrook had the attitude that Barnes has and operated like Barnes, it would be different. Are you talking about Barnes's last run here? Or are you talking about Harrison Barnes? Max wouldn't be on all rookie team without Westy. I agree. Completely agree. Here's the thing, though. And as soon as Max, Russ actually, did we talk to him about it? There was a time, it was right around, it was it around the All-Star break? Anyways, Max had a string of really good games. And we asked Matt, or we were asking Russ about it, and he was talking about the trust level there. And once Max had earned that trust with Russ, that meant to me that if Russ is trusting Max with that play, everybody else better trust Max with that play. And that's where we saw a lot more usage of Max's floater, that 8-foot, 6-foot floater. Max's hands are so good. They are so damn good. So just get him the ball in that area. He's going to know what to do with it. And because he's so good in that area, that's why that dunker spot across the floor and in the corner is so important. That's where Dylan Cardwell just made a living from that spot, because all he had to do was run to the rim and Max would lob it up. So Harrison in San Antonio. Yeah, look, there's not a lot of dudes like Harrison Barnes. I'm just going to flat out say it. There's not. He's a special player, and I can't say person. I don't know him. I've never talked to him one-on-one. He's a special player in the way he approaches the game, in the way that he sees himself within a team unit. You need more guys like Harrison Barnes. So anyways, my Ry-Doh is, and here we go. I'm sure I'm going to get another group of Westies coming at me, and they're going to be like, oh, you're a freaking hypocrite. You have him pinned to the top of your page, bro. It's like, dudettes, you don't get it. You're not listening. You're not considering what we're considering, which is what is best for the team. Oh, 15 points a night for the minimum. How's that not good for the team? Yeah, you see what I'm saying. So let's go back to the dose, because I think Haunted Horse is still around. What is going on in Santa Clara? Like, seriously, what's going on? My guy, Damon Bruce, friend of the show, Scott Perry, friend of the show, Damon Bruce. Staggering attrition at 49ers camp. Too many guys hurt too often. It's ridiculous. The team might be healthier this year if they just all go home and meet in Australia for the Rams game. Pearsall, done for the season. Here's the question that I ask. Why was Pearsall's knee not taken care of in the offseason? Just like I'm going to ask, or just like I did ask before or after, excuse me, the 49ers signed McCaffrey to the extension and did not do a physical. Why didn't you do a physical? Different from Pearsall, if his PCL was bad enough last season to miss, he missed 8 games altogether. Oh, let's put it this way. He's missed 8 games in his career due to injury, which do not include the gunshot. So he missed games last year for the PCL. If you thought there was any chance that that PCL could flare up or was not fixed, why not get that taken care of in the offseason? He's now going to miss the entire season. And so then Niners fans are like, hey, man, okay, it stinks we don't have Pearsall. We got Debo back. We've got this rook that looks really good out there. He's playing really good at the receiver position. Well, he's hurt now too. Look at this list. Niners who have been or had dealing with an injury, or Niners who have / are dealing with an injury. Pearsall, Mike Evans, Andrew Farmer, Deshaun Stribling, that's the receiver that I was talking about, Jordan James, Malik Mustafa, Kalon Black, not sure how to say his first name, Mikali Kamara, Christian Kirk, and Grayson Halton. Wrap this team in bubble tape. It's insane. Like, is it time? Oh, and don't forget about Kyle. Kyle is in the concussion protocol. Can't forget about him. Like, if I'm Niners fan, I'm thinking one of two ways. The first thing I'm thinking is, do we actually need to have a study about this energy center, whatever it is, that's located near the practice facility? At this point, why not? However, the question that I don't think Niners fans are asking enough is not just mutually exclusive to the 49ers. It is an issue for a lot of other NFL teams. It's an issue for a lot of NBA teams, professional teams in general. How many of these guys are doing their own off-season programs? How many of these guys are doing the Niners program? How many guys are doing a little bit of each? At this point, if you are the Niners strength and conditioning staff, people responsible for looking after the analytics that go into training for these guys, when they train, how they train, etc. Spotlight's kind of on you right now, because there's been a lot of soft tissue stuff in the past few years for the Niners, and I guess you can make the argument league-wide, but not to this degree. But what is there a disconnect between what the team is asking the guys to do and what the guys are actually doing in the offseason? And the Niners, again, would not be the only time, or the only team, I should say, that deal with that. It's a big problem in sports right now. Mac, what's up, dude? Haven't seen you in a while. The Niners, okay, Mac, this isn't like Notre Dame, Sac State reporting. Just want to make sure. The Niners have announced that they're in the market for real estate for a new facility. They changed their practice schedule this camp and the way they stretch this camp. Okay. Well, if you change the way you stretch, my expectation is that would have been in the off-season guide. Like, that's how you are supposed to stretch before your workouts in the off-season. Are the guys following it? Because it's a double-edged sword with these guys and these teams, these players in these teams, because football is so freaking cutthroat. No guaranteed money, etc. Well, unless you frequent massage parlors and are a predator. There's no guaranteed money. It's all in the signing bonuses. So there's guys that are questioning. They're having these workout programs ran by whoever their trainer is because it might not be in their best interest personally. If they don't think the Niners are going to hold on to them, if they think they're expendable. Anyways, it's bizarre. Now, the only good thing that I will say about this entire thing is the Niners at the end of last season found something. And it was a swag. It was almost like an F it, we embrace it attitude, next guy up attitude. And the next guy that stepped up, that had success, it just increased the confidence for the team. So that next guy that needed to step up, stepped up. Y'all found something that I had not seen in a while. In fact, I would argue I had not seen a little chemistry, a grit over the past 3-4 years that I saw when you went on your run at the end of the season, which was ultimately ended in Seattle. I was worried about the Seahawks playing the Niners because of that swag. The Niners, although decimated, they were still dangerous. Can that carry into this season? And here's the other thing that goes with that. With these injuries means more young guys are playing. Second, third string guys are going to get some run. Kyle Shanahan has not always been very kind and conducive to playing the young guys. So maybe this is forcing his hand. The real estate came out and reasoning they need more room. Dude, okay, yeah. They've got a double whammy. You've got the practice facility, and then your stadium is in the same parking lot as that awful, disgusting, walking thief, Great America. It's bad karma, bad juju. Harrison Barnes' attitude and the ability to be a good example and help young players is a huge locker room intangible. Absolutely. You know, it's not so sure, but it's his approach. It's what the young players see him doing. And with his longevity and just being ready, man. Like, there was one of the really charming things about the Kings, so much so that like it captured my attention and it became one of my big focuses. Was for a while there, the Kings were really good, or at least the back end of their bench was really good about staying ready. Like guys that had not played in like 9, 10, 12, 13 games, like they stayed ready more times than not. Those guys, when they were brought into the game, they had success. Freaking love that. I want that to come back. In fact, I remember Kessler Edwards. Oh my gosh. We were the Kings had just come back from it was a week-long road trip. And the next day, Kess, who had played on that road trip and played well, Kess was in Stockton playing for the Stockton Kings. And so before the game, I look at him, I'm like, Kess, dude, like, how are you staying ready? And he just looks at me, he goes, right here. So it's that kind of thing that you get from being around a Harrison Barnes. Let's go back to the phones. I still want to talk a little baseball, believe it or not. But let's go. What's up, Matt?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I've been I know you're a Seahawks fan, so maybe I'm more following the camp, the 49ers camp than you, or I don't know. But I just wanted to say the wide receiver, well, Mike Evans is now hurt, but I don't know if that was on your list, but
Yeah.
I'm hearing that their wide receiver competition, our room is very deep. Um, Junior Bergen has he was gonna not make the team, but he played special teams last year. I heard he looks more refined. Watkins, who is really standing out in camp, and then the guy Will Pauling from Notre Dame. He's looking really good and looks really good on punt returns. So here's my point is I think that because Mike Evans is 33 coming off of an injury, Christian Kirk has always been hurt, and so on and so on. Like even getting Debo, he now when he's in shape, he doesn't get as hurt, and I know he's in better shape, but he is known to miss a couple games or two. I think that this is going to be a kind of plug and place, like committee type wide receiver room. What do you think?
It kind of feels that way.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, and the thing is like, I don't think that anybody who's been lost is unreplaceable. Like you could, like for example, what were you expecting to get from Ricky Pearsall, if that makes sense?
A lot.
Robinson,
Mac, you were looking to get a lot. He was their like big time possession receiver when healthy last year.
understood, but you said when healthy. When has he really been available? You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing that you are losing is his route tree. He was able to get better separation than other players.
Yeah, his first step was awesome.
Yes. But I do think that that you can replace him with Stribling. Now he doesn't get open. You have to scheme him open. And just there are things that you could do where I think he is replaceable, if that makes sense. And then what Evans could do, and another guy who's having a good camp and had a great game against Philadelphia. He had 150 yards was Robinson. Demarcus Robinson is still there. So like I think they're gonna be okay at wide receiver. What I don't think they're okay at is they just brought in a guy from Chicago at running back, not having Keon Black. I can't pronounce his first name, but Black from Indiana. He was supposed to be the number 2 guy. He was looking super explosive, and then James breaking his ribs because Fred Warner broke them. Did you hear how that happened?
No.
So they were non-pad practice, right? They're doing 7-on-7s. Fred Warner broke his ribs trying to punch the ball out. And he was competing for the number 2 running backs position. Fred Warner the next day started a brawl with Dre Greenlaw. So it's kind of like Fred Warner is chomping at the bit to get going, but he's got to chill as a 9-year veteran. That doesn't sound good. But long story short, today and yesterday was Debo's first day. They have him working at special teams and running back a lot, so he might make the team. Don't be surprised if he's their 5th running back at this moment. And then I hear Kyle Juszczyk is taking reps at tight end. So that would mean I think at the beginning of the year, your tight ends will be like Tonjes, Farrell, maybe even Juszczyk, and then your running backs are going to be McCaffrey. Is supposed to be Black. Then you'll probably start the kid from Oregon, James, on the on the not disabled list, but was it unable to perform or whatever
Mhm.
because he has broken ribs. But he'll come back like week 4, and then you'll have uh, uh, Debo will be probably will make the team as a running back, but they'll still put him in the slot and whatnot because you want to keep some of those receivers. Um, and then the guy, I think, Kyle loves getting older running backs. So I think the guy from Chicago makes the team. And then Garenda will start on the unable to perform with the pectoral. And then it's either Patrick Taylor might make the team. I don't know, but I will say running back, they can't get hurt there. That's gonna really kill them now, and it's putting more pressure. Like it was finally this camp was looking like, oh great, we have someone who can take some snaps for Christian McCaffrey, and he's coming off of 450 touches from last year.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
we can do that again.
yeah, that's what's scary. The most scary on that list is those were your two. Those were two guys competing for the number 2 overall running back, and they were and you had guys who, if they could have stayed healthy, could probably take over 40% of the snaps, and then you give Christian 60. It's just hi son. Did you have a good nap? Yes. Okay. Sorry. But I think that's a big reason that they have Debo is because he's going to be taking some snaps at running back. What do you think?
I think it's silly if you're going to be giving him snaps at running back. I thought the Niners would have learned that lesson that
Hmm.
he's not a Z back. He can't take those hits. You got to keep him at receiver. But I don't know. Like I said, as part of this, the Niners found something, a grit that they had not had in previous seasons last year at the end of the season. And maybe it carries over, maybe it doesn't. The Kyle situation, he has always been so just indifferent about playing young players and putting trust
Yes.
into them or losing trust in young players very easily. So maybe his hand's going to be a little forced here, but if you're a Niners fan, you've got to be pounding your head against a wall right now.
Well, and also one thing that I think is Malik Mustafa, he was a starter. I think Jair Brown's going to beat him out and take his job. I heard he's having a great camp. And they also brought in what's his name from Atlanta, Morris. And Morris is a defensive backs coach. And when him and Ronaldo Green are having a really good camp. So the defensive backs are looking really good, which makes sense because they brought in a defensive back coach.
Well,
But
okay, see, that's the other big question that I don't think's being talked about enough. The defense absolutely dropped off when Salah left town. He comes back, the defense is stiffer than ever, and now he leaves again.
they
Is
had,
that going
and
to be a
yeah,
problem?
well, I think a big thing that really hurt them is once Michael Williams got out with tore his ACL, and then Bosa, you had no pass rush. And statistically speaking, they had the worst pass rush of the out of everyone. And in the beginning of the year, they were very exotic. They were very creative, and then they just went to a very bland defense, and that was partially because you lost people. But you got that. I one guy who's really standing out and making great plays. And I heard last practice is that Oga Azuga. What's his name? He's from Dallas. Can you? I can't pronounce his name.
I don't even know
But
who it is. So,
well,
you go.
he's a defensive tackle. He started for Dallas. He had one play where he comes off the ball and with one hand lifted Jake Brendel, starting center, up in the air, threw him on the ground, and got in the backfield. So he's 350 pounds right there. Alfred Collins is having a good camp. He was 350. They brought in another defensive tackle, so they're getting bigger, because that was one thing that was really bad. One thing that Seattle was able to do was kind of bully the 49ers, especially in the middle of their line, both offensively and defensively. If you watch those Seattle games, Dominic Pooney was playing all last year with a knee, so that's good. He's healthy, so maybe their interior line gets better. And a guy that's coming on his second year, and I've read is looking significantly better, is their left guard Connor Colby. So those are two things that have been addressed. But yes, you're right. They kind if you are a nerd about and understand and know all their roster, they did bolster the defensive tackle position because they felt that they were just getting bullied up front. I still think they need an edge rusher. Who I'd really like to come on this team is Clowney. And maybe he'll be available in October. You have $71 million of cap space. I don't know why. I mean, he had 9 sacks last year. Did he live up to the number 1 overall pick? No, but he's had a good career. He could contain the run. And 9 sacks on the outside as an edge rusher, that's not bad.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, though. That Seattle defense was so good that you have to wonder if he was one of the guys getting less attention than what he might get in San Francisco. Would he produce the same on a defense that's not as good? So I think that's kind of up in the air that teams are evaluating.
Agree, but you got to do something to help Nick Bosa out, because look, every game they're chipping to him. He's getting double covered. I do think if Bosa's in the lineup, I mean, obviously that's going to help Clowney, and then with the Osa Ozigadua or whatever, he's going to demand attention too, because I think, if I remember correctly, because I listened to the 49er podcast and specifically Larry Krueger, I think he had about 8. He had close to 8 sacks last year, so that's an upgrade right there. So I don't know. I do think Clowney would fit in. Like you said, you could even, because I think Bosa will take so much of the attention, if that makes sense. So I don't know. But I do think that they need an outside edge. That's just me. But anyway,
hey,
that's all I have to say.
Good job.
Take it easy.
Good job, dude. Good job by yourself
bye-bye.
as well. Look at Mac just uploading us on the 49ers, picking us up. Good stuff from Mac. Peter, thanks for being the statistician here on the King's Court. All right. We've got one more little grievance. It wasn't so little, or it's not a grievance, just a little bit of a dough that I had to ask myself. I don't talk a lot of baseball. It's just not my thing. But another trade deadline, and the Dodgers end up getting Tarek Skubal. And it's the rich get richer. Every baseball fan around the country that does not root for the Dodgers is complaining. And it's all about they're willing to pay more than any other team, yada, yada, yada. They're buying championships. And outside of a couple teams that made some moves, Boston, who has been playing much better as of late, they went in, got themselves a really big catcher, a really good catcher, I should say. But I'm kind of wondering if people are putting the spotlight in the wrong place when it comes to Major League Baseball. Everybody spotlights the Dodgers, as I said just a second ago, about getting all the best players. And the package they put together was not anything that would have blown you off your feet. Other teams could have done it, but a lot of teams are not like the Dodgers and willing to give up young prospects. But back to this spotlight thing. Should we take the spotlight away from the Dodgers and put it on the rest of the teams in Major League Baseball? Like, are there teams that legitimately have the same take as fans that, oh, well, nobody's going to beat the Dodgers. It's just not going to happen. Why pay to even try? Coming off of a season where the Dodgers were taken to 7 games in the World Series on the road to come back. Look at, like, I'm looking at the payroll. So the Dodgers, and this is not up to date exactly, but 313 million, second most in Major League Baseball. The Mets highest 319, Yankees 293, Phillies 287, Blue Jays 285, Braves 260, middle of the road, roughly speaking, from about 150 to 220 million. The Padres, the Tigers, the Giants, who traded away a player, the Rangers, the Angels, and the Mariners, and the Orioles. And then there's the bottom teams. $74 million, the Guardians. $80 million, the Marlins, the Cardinals, Nationals, Athletics, White Sox between 90 and 97 million. The Pirates, Rays, Twins, 105 to 111 million dollars. So here's what you have. You have one team that's trying to win. They can't keep him after this year is over. Dodgers will have the money to sign. Who says that, though? Baseball doesn't have a cap right now. Might have a cap next year. Actually, more likely you don't have baseball next year. Maybe even the year after it. But like the way I have my calendar set up, there is going to be no baseball next year. Baseball to me is fundamentally broken. I'm taking the spotlight off of the Dodgers. I'm putting it on straight up the middle of the pack teams that are just giving up. Well, if we can't spend that much and they have the best players, we should cut back to the minimums. Yet you're asking fans to come out for 163. Dodgers have that. Okay, great. Maybe you can't spend as much. Here's my point, Horse. Maybe you can't spend as much as the Dodgers, but you could be putting forth a much better effort to try to beat the Dodgers. It feels like there's only a small group of teams that are in the middle where it's like, all right, we'll take a swing at them. We'll go for it. Hence the Mets, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Blue Jays, the Braves. The Padres went all in a couple of years ago, kind of worked out, kind of didn't work out. They get Mize at the trade deadline, by the way, in a late deal. Baseball is broken, and it's not the Dodgers' fault. Horse, okay, you can't, do you understand the middle ground that I'm trying to say here? You can't write off a team because they can spend way more money than you. You can't write off your own team because of that. That's my point. I think teams are doing that. And even if they are not, that is the perception from casual baseball fans. I can't speak for hardcore baseball fans because I'm not one of them. But unless you're in like the group of 8, you just kind of give up. You roll over. You're not making any moves. You're giving guys. All right. Horse is going to call in. This should be good. Because he disagrees with me. He's a Giants fan. Wait. You can't call on my personal cell phone. You got to hit the link, bro. I don't have my cell phone plugged in for that, man. Nice try. Nice try, Horse. Yes, that was the Masters music. But yeah, it's broke. you talk about the finances, it's broke from the mindset too of some of these owners. I'm not asking them to take out mortgages on their stadiums, Horse. I'm not asking them to leverage every asset they have. I'm asking them to meet in the middle and at least spend a little bit more to try to win. What's up, dude?
Hey, I don't have my setup, so you might get speaker reverb. I'm getting
good.
ready to go. So, okay. So listen, this is what drove me crazy about Rome today. They have to trade away some good players to get this guy, right? So they're competing with the Dodgers. They trade away their good players, and then at the end of the season, they've got to try to re-sign this guy. If they don't re-sign him, they just lost all those players for a half a season rental. The Dodgers can guarantee that they have enough. They will throw $1 billion if they have to. They know they can outbid everybody. So, of course, they're going to trade away their players because they know they will sign him again. I promise you this guy will be a Dodger for the extended term. The other teams can't do that. They don't have an unlimited checkbook to just throw as much money as the Dodgers are. They will get outbid, and then they will be out the farm system players that they traded to get to the guy. They're prospects. It's a rigged game without a salary cap. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I don't disagree with you, like with this transaction, but it doesn't mean that other teams should be trading away their best players because they don't think they can compete.
Detroit has to trade him away because they can't re-sign him at the end. You've got to get something.
I'm not just talking about this transaction. Like a lot of teams at the All-Star break offload. If you're a bad team, offload. I get it, but if you're a team that might be able to make the postseason,
look at the Dodgers roster. You aren't going to beat them. So unless you can compete for a ring, I mean, does it matter if you go out and spend money and win your first playoff series? It's all about, you've got to get far enough, at least into the ALCS or NLCS. I'm just saying that the teams with the money have a big unfair advantage of those over those. Look at what the Marlins did about 10 years ago. They would pump a lot of money into a season, win a ring, and then they would just dump everybody they signed because they couldn't afford to keep them. They did that a couple times. They got 2 rings, but they had to dump everybody and rebuild instantly after winning a ring. I just want a salary cap. That's all I want. I want the people with the big TV contracts, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers. I want those teams to have a hard cap. The NFL is the perfectly run league, not for the players, but for the fans. It's the perfect run league. MLB is not, hell, the players own all the leverage in MLB. The fans, they hate it unless you root for a super team. I'm just saying, it's frustrating to see them go out and poach all the cream of the crop and leave everyone else scrambling to get the mid to good players. The superstars always gravitate, unless you're a Trout, like you have some loyalty to a team and you'd rather just stay there. But that guy gave up on millions, tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars by staying with the Angels, who are a cheap poverty franchise. So, and a floor. Absolutely. Peter's 100% right. You need to have a floor.
That's
otherwise,
what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you got to have the hard cap because the Dodgers are just they're going for the 3-peat because they know that this is the last chance before a salary cap. You know who made the salary cap happen in the NFL? Do you know the teams that did? It was the 49ers. They would go out and poach everybody, and then the Cowboys were doing the same thing. And they said, no. They were literally going to each team. Oh, that best player, we're going to take him. Oh, that best player, they're going to take him. And I almost said Bartolo clone. Eddie DiBartolo just wrote checks. So let's just outspend everybody. So that's the reason they had a salary cap in the NFL.
Yeah, it's broken.
It is very broke.
It's-
I'll take a 2-year strike if it finally fixes and levels the playing field, so to speak. It frustrated me with the Yankees in the 2000s when they would go out and they would get oh gosh, Randy Johnson, and they would go out and get the guy from Oakland. Who was that? He was
Canseco.
No, it was not Canseco. It was the guy.
Oh, Giambi.
Giambi. They would just go out and just take all those guys. Like
yeah, but teams still okay, but the teams didn't roll over like they are now.
Yeah, but the A's couldn't compete with the Yankees. If they really wanted the player bad enough, they could outspend them. You just don't have the resources.
Okay, yeah, okay. We're talking about the top, and you're not wrong. The top players, sure, that's probably going to be destination number one. But what's interesting is because there's likely going to be a salary cap, the Dodgers are going to have to disload. They're going to have to unload.
Well, Ohtani's a great he's deferred money, so Ohtani won't count hard against their cap.
Well, I'm sure
they're going to have to phase it in. They can't start like, okay, the very first year we're going to have this cap and you're going to have to, because then that would be breach of contracts of players but they're going to have to phase it in over the next several years.
My guess is the deferred money is going to be argued during the CBA as well, because it's kind of like a workaround to a degree.
Probably.
But yeah. So, hey, appreciate
what the NBA does deferred money, don't they? Don't they have or
it's only on buyouts.
Buyouts, got it. Okay.
Yeah. What do you got going tonight?
I got Dino from Vegas, so you know what that means. That'd be nuts.
Okay.
Never know what that guy's gonna do.
Where do you find it?
Where do I find it? If you go to HollywoodRejects.com, you click on the YouTube channel and you'll see me.
Yeah,
and Dino.
He's sending you, not me. I am not responsible.
Yeah, and it is an adult show, no kids. When I see Tedora in the audience after I've done some very adult stories, it makes me go, "Oh shit, Baki, keep your daughter out of the show because it's not for someone that age."
Good stuff.
18 and older. But yeah, it's fun. And BJ, I'm sorry. Listen, I'll respond to BJ. He says, you don't read the chat. I literally do not have the brain capacity to run the board, run the OBS, and look at all the chat. My brain is not wired. I have tunnel vision. Ryan's better at multitasking than I am. So I apologize to the chatters. I try to get to it as much as I can. I just cannot scan it because I'm too busy trying to read the next news story, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have the ability. You're great at multitasking. Good for you. But my wife will say if I'm driving around and I'm looking for an address, she knows not to talk and we have the radio off because I can't. I cannot look for an address and have a radio and then having someone talking to me making small talk. My brain will get overloaded and I'll end up wrecking the car. So, all right, dude, have a good show. Good show today. Loved it.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Great.
Have a good show tonight.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Bye.
Okay. Good stuff from HH. He's right about the transaction. And Peter is right. I think that's kind of Peter, what I was trying to get across. You're broken because there is no floor and there's no max. And teams then can, and yeah, the best guys are going to go to the bigger markets. It's true of every single sport, but it doesn't mean that other teams just go with the bare bones because they assume they can't compete. I don't like that. So lots still to talk about with baseball. Plenty of time the rest of the week, which we probably will not talk much more baseball. But Grant and I will be on tonight. Might be an argument that we get into. He knows a lot more about the game than I do. He doesn't follow it as much anymore. But you know what I mean. He grew up going to Yankees games. We'll be back here in 2 hours on the channel. Appreciate everybody for joining me today. Thanks for all the calls. Awesome calls. My thanks to Adam, BJ, Mac, Horse. Good job. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back Tuesdays. What do we do on Tuesdays? I think do we do grievances? We'll do something on Tuesdays. So we'll be back with it 3 o'clock tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Have a great night. Join us again, 7 o'clock. Grant and Ryno coming up. Thanks to everybody also, before we go, that is finding the show on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. Numbers are humbling. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thanks to the YouTube viewers as well, ex-viewers. We'll see you in a couple hours right here on If You Don't Like That.